Welcome to One Sharp Sword, cutting through to what matters most. I'm your host, Dr. P, Dr. Wayne Pernell, the exponential success coach. Hey, I was reflecting on a cruise that my wife and I took not that long ago, and their customer service was amazing. They had some customer service glitches, and they did their best to make it up. And so what I want to talk about is not, wow, the Caribbean is an amazing place to visit, which it is, and I highly recommend it. What I want to talk about is how deliberate we need to be when we are engaging with other people, because pretty much everything we do, no matter what role you're in the world, everything we do has to do with customer service in some ways, right? Whether you're in a family, it's like, are you making sure that your family has what they need? Are they getting the attention they need? Are they getting the food and nutrients they need? Are they, right? So, or if you're alone, are you serving yourself well? And if you're in a business, obviously the idea is to stay in business, you're doing customer service. Are you doing that well? So there were a couple of places where we made some amazing connections with people that we had no idea that we would connect with. These were people in some of the shops. They took a special interest in us. And it was very evident that it was above and beyond the interest that they showed to other people. And partly that's because of who my wife and I were to them. So, we weren't showing up as demanding customers. We were showing up as humans, hoping to engage in an interaction that allowed them as humans to be seen and for us to create a transaction that was founded on relationship. And I think that's really important, that too often our business falls back to the transactional when it should be about the relational. And that's where customer service was blown in different parts of the ship that we were on, when it became transactional. And at the hotel we stayed at afterwards, when it became transactional. Look, you're going to, in business, and certainly as a parent, you're going to be repeating yourself over and over and over again. And it may be the 100th or the 1,000th or 10,000th or 100,000th time that you've said the same thing. Oh, yes, it's right over there. Welcome. All that stuff. It could be that you've said that a gazillion times. And yet, for the person receiving it or hearing it, unless it's your child, of course, then it's like, are you not listening? When you're face to face with customer, it's the first time they've heard it. It's their first experience of you. It may not be of you and your store, your shop, your business. It's the first time they've heard whatever it is you're saying. It's the first time they've heard it from you. And even if you've said something to them, guided them a certain way, whatever, they're in a different space. They're going to hear it differently. As a coach, I will tell you that happens all the time. And I sort of like the first probably couple hundred times it happened, I was like, I know I've said this to this person, or I know I've shared this information before. And the truth is I have. The other truth is they've grown. They're in a different place to hear it. And so you need to remember that what you say to someone, it could be the very first time they're able to receive it. Now, that said, remember that you may have said it a gazillion times. They're hearing it for the first time. And so if you treat them as if they're hearing it for the gazillionth time, it will come off as demeaning and condescending, and dismissive. And this happened at a couple of places on board the ship. We were offered a different dining choice, for example. Oh, are you sure you want here? You probably want the buffet. And it was like, no, we're specifically here because we don't want the buffet. And it was a very interesting, like, that seems so innocuous. And yet the way it was said, and without even any inquiry, it was dismissive. It was demeaning. It was really bad customer service. How about welcome? We have a lot of choices. You could dine here. You could dine at the buffet. There's other restaurants available as well. Would you like a seat here? Yes, we've shown up here. Of course, we'd like a seat. Also, that was our assigned dining room, and we were dismissed. So there's a backstory to that that's I don't have to go into, just to let you know that we as customers, and you as a customer of any business, are going to come with expectations. Well, of course you are. You're supposed to, right? You have expectations of what your outcome is. Your job as a business owner, your job as a good partner in a relationship, is to find out what the expected outcome is and to negotiate from there based on the relationship, not based on the transaction. Too many relationships go badly when it's quid pro quo. Well, you got this. You bought yourself that, so I'm going off to buy myself this. Or, well, you didn't, take out the trash when I've been doing this and this and this. And it's scorekeeping. It's not about that. It's not about that in a relationship. It shouldn't be. And it's not about that in your business either. And yet somewhere there's a sense of fairness. And your job needs to be to find the fairness. Now, when we had this experience of feeling dismissed, we commented on it to somebody that wasn't even part of the hospitality team. And they took complete ownership. And I will tell you, it never happened again. We were welcomed. We didn't complain. We commented on it. And that's a really weird thing, because it was a comment. It wasn't a complaint. The fact that somebody else took full ownership and swung back, it was very evident that that something had been said, because the person who was doing a checklist job, oh, well, you might want something else, became very very welcoming. And it was full of smiles, it was a very, very different posture from there out. Amazing turnaround. And sometimes it's just a matter of bringing something to someone's attention. Hey, this style isn't representative of our brand, who I am, who we are. And so I'm thinking on multiple levels, and I want you thinking on multiple levels too. For yourself, is how you present yourself, is that representative of your style, your brand, you at your core integrity place? You. Is it representative of your family? Is it representative of the relationship you want? Is it representative of your business? And so if not, change it, right? The way we engage with people, it needs to be very friendly and focused, and it's easy enough to create a relationship-based business that maintains the relationship, and business is done on top of that. Well, we had a phenomenal time. We visited multiple islands in the Caribbean, they say. I always thought it was Caribbean. Okay. Apparently both Caribbean and Caribbean are correct, though when I was in the Caribbean. They said Caribbean. Um, so we had a phenomenal time. I mean, it's the water. There's nothing like it. And the islands are great. And I highly recommend it as a trip. Go visit. If you can break away, you don't have to do a full-on cruise. Just go visit. Pick an island in the Caribbean and chill. It's brought me back, to be able to go and come back. I will tell you that getting a perspective that is not your day-to-day routine is going to be super helpful to you.
You know you are bigger than the life you are leading. It really is time to attend to that thing you've wanted to do or have, but you've been putting off. It's time to step into that dream you've parked for someday. It's time to claim true well-being, both personally and professionally, without giving up the success that got you here. It's time to check out Dr. Pernell's signature small group retreat, the Exponential Success Summit. Explore exponentialsuccesssummit.com. Seats are extremely limited as this is a very special small group event. www.exponentialsuccesssummit.com.
All right. Beyond that, we had a phenomenal time on board. We were well taken care of. We developed personal relationships with people, other people, passengers, guests of the cruise line. And it became a joy to see certain people who in the shops, because we'd see them as we passed by deck 6. That's where they are. Right. So it became a joy to see them and to engage with them. And it became a true personal engagement. And we felt good about the particular cruise line. We felt good about our experience. And we felt good about planning our next cruise. And then at disembarkation, which is a fancy word for it's time to get off the boat, there was a woman who had a clipboard. She was with security, and she was doing her job, but doing it in a way that was not customer service friendly and not representative of this particular cruise line. I don't think. I mean, she's in security. Awesome. And she's still a representative of the cruise line until we're into a more public domain. She is hired by the boat, by the ship, the company. So my name was on a list because I'd purchased a few things. I'd purchased a few things that were at a higher expense level. And so it makes customs and border patrol people curious. That's cool. I have all the receipts for everything I've purchased in an envelope. It's what I learned early on from my parents as we travel. Anything you buy, itemize it. Makes it easy when you cross the border. And I learned that early on as a kid. It's something I've done every time I've traveled, and it served me well. And even in this instance, it served me well. And at the point at which I was asked to divert from regular disembarkation, I was called out, yelled about, and it was demeaning and humiliating. And it takes a lot to humiliate me these days. But this woman, she was like, "You wait here." And everybody in the line behind me was like, "What's going on? What's happening? What's up with that guy?" And suddenly I felt like all eyes were on me and it wasn't my stage. It's like, I don't mind if all eyes are on me. It's like, I got something to say. It's great. but it was, you wait here. And then she yells this term, which in ship language is like, hey, this person's reached a limit that causes them to be on a certain roster. Yes, I bought art. Yes, I bought jewelry. Yes, I bought things that I could take with me. I had planned on that. I had prepared for that. I had saved up for that. And so I knew I was going to be spending money on a vacation. But, and I'm using the word but here on purpose, because my 3 watchwords are why, but, and should, and I typically don't use that word. 2 weeks were spent in inflating a balloon. 2 weeks were spent in creating an experience that was amazing. And I felt good about myself, and I felt good about the ship. I felt good about the particular cruise line. And in an instant, that balloon was popped. Boom. You wait here. Hey! And she yells, there's an overspender, which was a crossover of 2 words that she had: high limit and high spender. Or basically they have demarcations for when they want to investigate somebody. Okay. Like, it's not a true investigation. They just want to check out, did you buy this for yourself? Do you have receipts for it? Yes, and yes. But to be called out and yelled about, over limit spender, it's like, what the, like, do they not want me to buy things? I'd spent 2 weeks building a relationship with people in the shops. I'd spent 2 weeks building a relationship with other guests. Spent 2 weeks building a relationship with the people in the restaurants. I'd spent 2 weeks building a relationship with my wife and with myself. And in an instant, I had 100 people behind me wondering what was wrong with me. Why are they being held up? By whom? And I felt sort of like I had been criminalized, like I had been deemed a criminal of some sort. And so in an instant, the goodwill of 2 weeks of amazing service and amazing feelings and an amazing experiences on the ship and on shore, on the shore excursions, in an instant, all of that was blown out by this one security woman who decided to yell, because on her clipboard was my name. You wait here. And then somebody told me to move over and wait there. And then someone else told me to come with them. My wife was coming with me as well. And then someone else told me to wait there. And then someone else told me that it was time to talk to, they didn't even say it was Customs and Border Patrol. They just said, you're going to talk to CBP. It's like, oh, I don't even know what that is, CBP, until I got there and figured it out. And they were like, hey, you bought a couple of these, and they listed a couple of items. Do you have certificates for them? I'm like, yeah. I brought out the envelope with all the receipts, brought out my folio showing them what I bought and where. It's like, okay. That was it. It's like the whole process could have been, hey, there's going to be a couple of questions about the things that you purchased. Just have your receipts handy because they're going to ask you about them. It could have been that smooth, but instead it was a checklist. You're bad, you're wrong, you're stupid, you're a criminal. All these people behind you are going to know that. And you're going off to an undisclosed location to talk to somebody that's got 3 initials. So think about how what your process is in your business think about how you know what your process is in your handling of your customers, your family, your partner, and think about how even though you know what needs to happen, they don't. And maybe that's where some kindness needs to be injected. Maybe that's where what I call a culture of caring needs to be built. How about I see you first? Think about that. Think about where you can see another person before you process them. It's sort of like, I see you before, hey, how are you? I see you as a human. And that's where I'd like to leave this with you. So I do see you. I do appreciate you. I'm glad that you show up here and listen or watch as I share this with you. It matters to me. And I hope it makes a little difference in your life as well. I'm Dr. Wayne Pernell, Dr. P, the Exponential Success Coach. This is One Sharp Sword, cutting through to what matters most. Thanks for joining me. We'll see you here next time.